Okay, I came to Christ when I was a teenager. I went through depression. I don't remember if I told that story in our first conversation. So I think that my personal testimony maybe is not something that anyone else can take as a reason to also come to the same faith and conclusion as I have come.
Every time you see me, you Earthlings turn and run. I don't know what your problem is. I'm really super fun. I'm a Martian, not a great white shark. I'm a Martian. I play Frisbee in the park.
But today, of course, I am 36 years on that trajectory, and my faith has rather than weakened become strong to a point where I have absolutely no doubts that the Christian faith is true, that Christ is who he said to be, that he is God, the Son of God, and that he is eternal, that he is the creator of the universe. And there are several lines of reasoning which substantiate that conclusion. One is direct revelation through the Bible. Actually, that is the main reason, of course, that God has revealed himself through his word, the Bible, and I think there are several lines of evidence and reasons which substantiate that Christ is who he said to be.
At last, after 2,000 years of work, the Illudium Q-36 explosive space modulator. At long last, my dream come true.
And to me personally, one very, very strong reason which I take as a proof, actually, that Christ has risen, that he is not only a historical figure, but that he actually also rose from the dead and resurrected. And that is the Shroud of Turin, which is a linen which has been very much disputed. It's special because of the carbon dating in 1988. But I have studied that artifact for considerable time. I can afterwards put a link here on the side chat about what I have investigated in regards of that. And I believe that this is very hard evidence that the resurrection is true. That, in my understanding, is actually very, very strong and maybe the strongest evidence, and I would say even a proof that the resurrection actually occurred. And the main reason is that we have several evidence lines of reasoning which demonstrate the crucifixion of Christ, the signs of his crucifixion on that linen, and the image, the science is the most studied artifact ever.
The Earth? Oh, the Earth will be gone in just a few seconds.
And science has absolutely no clue whatsoever how that image could have been gotten there. We know that it is not a painting. There are no traces of pigments on the shroud. It is a very, very fine imprint on the very superficial on the linen, and it has 3D information. It is a negative, a photo negative, and we have absolutely nothing similar to that artifact. We don't know of anything similar to that. Claiming that this is a fake thing made by the Catholic Church in the 13th, 14th century, that in my understanding is absolutely not plausible. But besides of that, we have over 350 Old Testament prophecies which point to Christ as the Messiah. And we have also all the books in the New Testament or archaeological evidence which confirms the figures, Pontius Pilatus and all the others, also the places described in the New Testament, in the Gospels and so forth. Archaeological excavations have demonstrated that these places indeed existed. So I would say that this is very strong evidence, Naka, that Christ is who he said to be, that he is not only a historical figure, but that he actually rose from the dead.
Oh, drat these computers. They're so naughty and so complex. I could pinch them.
Okay, it cannot be an artifact from Michelangelo because we know the existence of the shroud at least from the 13th century, but we have also historical evidence much earlier of that, so that is absolutely not possible. Also, it cannot be a painting or whatever you propose.
I didn't say painting. I said he used alchemy.
Well, I said it cannot be from Michelangelo because he lived much later than the historical evidence that we know, that we have of the shroud, which goes back to 1260. That's where it has been mentioned the first time.
By who
Michelangelo
and when?
has not lived yet.
By who By who and when was the shroud mentioned in the 13th century?
Well, I have to look it. I have to look it up here in the link.
Well, don't you think that they would have mentioned this shroud, like in the Gospels, if there was some shroud, if Jesus had emitted this energy and they found this shroud with Jesus's imprint on it, wouldn't they have mentioned that in the Gospels that they wrote a couple decades later?
Well, first of all, the 3D information and the photo negative became only evident in 1898 when it was photographed the first time.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
And secondly, we have actually in the Gospels the mentioning of the linen where Christ was buried with, and we have also evidence
exactly that would be evidence. If they spoke of the linen, but they didn't speak of an imprint in such linen, don't you find that suspect?
Well, as said, I mean, this is in the natural colors.
That would be pretty major, though, right? Like that's, I mean, a dead body, somebody died, and they've emitted some form of energy that left an imprint on a burial shroud. I mean, that would be something that would catch the eye at least, if not the imagination, and make it into the Gospels.
Well, first of all, we don't know who kept the linen back then. But we know that it had to be stored in a secret manner. Nobody could know about it, and that's also the reason why it has not been widely propagated in the first 1,200 years.
Come over to my party. It's not that long a trip. You'll be glad you made the journey for my 7-layered dip. I like sharing cheese pizza. You see, I'm not so bad. Do you like little puppies? I make them in my lab. I'm a Martian. I hope for you no ill will. A Martian. Does someone need a chill